We're going live, we're here, we're live, we're going live, and all of that stuff. Welcome, everyone who's here now and everyone who's coming later, and hope you're having a good time, a good night, a good day, a good afternoon. This is militarized, broadcasting worldwide. Hey, Stone Reaper. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on, but I thought I'd come up and try to find out. I have an idea. It's not a good idea. I think I'm going to make enemies tonight, but that's okay. The enemies, I think, always within inside each of us. And, I read this article, and the article just, threw me in a tailspin. I see the polarization, I see the dividing, and you know what happens, and I know what happens when divides like this. Eventually, as I said, it comes back around and it unites. And it unites in a different way, maybe a way that nobody wants. Maybe somebody wants this. I'm not a conspiratorialist by nature, but my, somewhat in-depth studies of legal history say that conspiracies happen. In fact, complex ones, big ones happen. And what we have maybe is someone trying to, make people welcome the police state. Because that's the only thing that people are screaming for to stop the Black Lives Matter Antifa. They're trying to paint them as the irreprehensible, or totally reprehensible movement that has to be stopped at any cost, including by evoking a police state, a militaristic paradise of hell. So, yeah, I wonder if, those people who like hell, whether they think paradise looks like hell. I think they do. So that's what we're seeing, and we get a lot of people, and libertarians, and even conservatives saying, yeah, we need police to beat up on people. Well, Jesus, it wasn't that way like 5 years ago. It was just the opposite. And so, but we have some consistent people out there, and that's the mirror. It's the mirror of consistency. Are you being consistent with, what you hold? And nobody wants to see the extreme. But sometimes you got to take the extreme. My God. Because, we'll get into this article. Anyway, how are things going with you, Stone Reaper? I'm getting concerned. I'm hearing a lot of stuff in America about, the Boogaloo Boys. The Boogaloo Boys they're stylish and fashionable and buying guns like there's no tomorrow. MGTOW is not going to recommend joining the Boogaloo Boys, but I don't know if there's anything to join. I think it's sort of like a loose association, like anyone who has a Hawaiian shirt and wears it and wants a restructure. America should it, fall into some sort of demise. Anyone can be a Boogaloo Boy. Although I'm going to say that the cultural Marxists probably don't qualify. I don't think they do. I've beaten myself up the last couple of days. I remember that professor I had, and he failed me in the Christmas term, and I dropped the course. But he was a card-carrying member of the Marxist-Leninist Party, and I'm looking back and I'm saying what I should have done. But I didn't know back then. Nobody knew back then, right? Had I known then what I know now, I know what I would have done. And it would have been, my sacrifice. I would have had a different life, and maybe it would have just been enough to tilt the scales or something for my lifetime. Maybe I was meant to tilt the scales and just put the fear of God into anyone who wants to use that word in a positive light and drive these cretins from our good lands. Anyone who appeals to the dictatorship of the proletariat should be hanged until dead by any and all legal mechanisms. But unfortunately, people who are suggesting that we enslave all the working men, that's the proletariat, right? To enslave them. These people are, wearing their suits and teaching at the universities and think it's all fun and games when you enslave men. And ultimately, the Russian men went under the slavery, and the East German men went under the slavery. And, some of them supported it. It was bad before, there's no question. But I don't know if it was that bad under the Romanovs in Russia and in Eastern Europe. I don't know. East Germany was pretty bad when they flipped and decided to enslave all men. But the men broke out, right? So it was, 2-3 generations for Eastern European countries, and 4 so for Russia. So, but we should have zero. We should have zero enslavement of men in terms of dictatorship of the proletariat. And so anyone who supports Marxism is ultimately on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of me. And yet we have some people out on the street marching, and we'll take a look at what they're marching for. But first, maybe I'll post up this article I get. London spins out of control as Met Police abandon streets. You can't help but, click on a headline like that, right? I don't know. I'm not in London. Does anyone know? It's in Brixton, which is, I think, like a borough south of London or something. So anyway, it's by this person, M.A. Richardson of the Duran.com, who I've read before. But we're going to see that this person is virtue signaling to his readership. Okay. But, I agree with a lot of what he says. The Trump presidency has been under a continual coup, even before taking office. Yes, that is true. And there's main things. Facts are no longer facts, but interpretations. Yes, I'm giving you that in history and in sciences. All opposition is being deplatformed, demonetized. That's not quite true. We've had some elements just say they're going to defund the social media, and the mainstream media is hopeless. So we got no idea what's happening. But as I say, the players are fighting one another now, and we'll see what happens. But here we have the tyranny of Black Lives Matter. BLM is a marketing exercise by the 3 founders, all trained radical Marxists: Alicia Garza, Opal Tometi, and Patrice Coulors. I don't know these people. I didn't look them up. And the public have been played. Well, maybe. But, if they're Marxists, they're Marxist. But, they have an overall agenda, but they've managed to collect behind them a whole bunch of issues where it doesn't matter what they say. So, and here we have the bolded sentence, because Zero Hedge picks up bolded sentences pretty well. There is a bet hedging from the left light, I call it, leftists. So political commentators of the left who are afraid to declare that the emperor has no clothes. These, light leftists advocate that it is not Black Lives Matter and the rise of cultural Marxism that we should be worried about, but the rise of the far right in reaction to it. So we have still, commentators saying that the rise of cultural Marxism is not the problem, it's the far right reaction to it. Well, here we have this label, cultural Marxism, which is a nasty thing. It does exist. We know it exists in MGTOW. It's filtered into feminism. We see it. We see the horror of it. We see the cancel culture, the SJW excesses. So we see it there. But what we have here are require people to kneel before them, to pull down and deface statues, injure police and public property. And again, they're bullying small children. We'll get to that. My God, I can't believe that M.A. Richardson sunk so low as to bring up bullying children. Oh, we've got to protect the children. No, I don't think there's any children, in the riots. And if there are, they're in the wrong place, and their parents should be, held accountable for endangering them if they are. So, what we see happening in London is following engagement with the local community, we are hopeful that crowds are dispersing. A quick look at Google Translate will tell you what this means. They threw stuff at us, so we left. My God, they're funny. I think that's M.A. Richardson. Funny. So the police are trying to make the best face on it, but again, the police of Britain are impossibly horrible. And they did disastrous things in beating up Tommy Robinson, in apologizing for the rape gangs that terrorized the young girls of Britain. No, the police of Britain are hopeless, and the island would be much better off without them. So this is the problem. Who cares what the police say? They're part of the problem. And okay, you tell me, okay, it's the good police and then the bad police, but can you be a good police if you don't call out the bad police and punch them in the face or something, say fuck off, don't do it again? No, you can't be a good policeman if you don't call out the bad policeman. I don't hear good policemen calling out the bad policeman for my entire fucking life, except for Serpico. Serpico did it, and look what happened to him. He was in hiding for the rest of his fucking life. So, hey, it's Bob the Monk. Bob the Monk, how the hell are you? Hello to all men. Always, always. Hello to all men. And Warrior's not in here. Hey, PJP, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Great comment. Had me thinking all fucking morning. It did. Anyway, we're at this juncture. We're at this juncture where, we're getting this article, and he's painting a picture of Black Lives Matter. He's, painting them as cultural Marxists. Yes, indeed. They may be. I'm not suggesting that they're not. But what I may be suggesting is something else here. I'm suggesting that I have some trouble looking in the mirror if I say that I don't support what some of these Black Lives Matters are doing, because they don't care. They don't care what we think. Anyone my age maybe, or younger even, if you disagree with them, they don't care. And I tried to put it down. Why don't they? Well, and I'm looking at my life. I'm 56. I'm 56. A lot of men on this channel are equally as old, and so we've seen this. This is not something that we haven't seen. We've seen the police become militarized. We've seen the growth of the prison industrial complex. We've seen war as a pointless regime change. We've seen decency denigrated and family strength wither. We've seen taxes go up to support unsustainable community destruction. We've seen affirmative action, otherwise known as reverse discrimination. We've seen the flamboyant degeneracy of sexual relations, the degrading of boys' and men's self-image, the institutionalization of crony capitalism with its private profits and socialized losses. And we've seen the destruction of truth and the rise of infotainment. So this is what I've seen. This is maybe, and what we're seeing is a total destruction of anything that you would want to fight for. This is the demoralization of the West, at least, from a Canadian, maybe an American, maybe a European point of view. This is, if you don't find all of them distasteful, well, you find some of them distasteful, I hope, And if Black Lives Matter wants to get rid of the police, well, people have tried to tone it down, and they just get more and more military gear, and they do more and more horrible things. And, that incident in Australia is like emblematic. That woman was ripped from her son for wearing a sandwich board saying, I think COVID-19 is going too far. And they rip her from her kid, and it's all videotaped, and we see that they've become the enemy. And so if anyone's hoping that the police is going to come in on the horse and save the day, well, no, you're asking the enemy to come in and save the day. We're lost. The demoralization is complete. And, in MGTOW, we know what they've done to the prison industrial complex. They put men, Eggy Noggy stimulated a research into George Floyd. He got 6 months for possession or trying to give some guy less than a gram of coke, okay. And, maybe he was a street dealer, I don't know. But, this is on the road to his life, right? He was in and out of prison because of that incident. I don't know. It might have been different if they didn't put him in jail for that. But they did because they wanted to feed the system. And that's what we have. And if anyone in the quote-unquote criminal justice system doesn't call it, upon request, a prison industrial complex, then they're unable to meet halfway. Because it's even worse than that. What's happening to so many men, 2 million men in America, and it happens in other countries, less so. It's evil. It's just hell on earth. It's even worse than a prison industrial complex. It's just hell on earth. So if the police and the judges won't even meet halfway and say it is a prison industrial complex, we will destruct it. And then the war is a pointless change. I remember, Canada's bombing of Libya and imagining the arms and legs of the children being blown off with my tax dollars paying for some of those bombs, and my feeling nauseous as a result of it. I'd been protected, I suppose, and then I came home because there was just Canada's been pretty good about it, and this was just horrible. And now we look at the open slave markets in Tripoli, Libya, and say, why did they take my party night out, drinking beer with the boys once a year? Why did they take that money and do that to those people? They didn't deserve it. And in MGTOW we've seen over the course of my lifetime just horrible degeneracy and decency is gone. Taxes going for feminism and deviant art. White guys were discriminated against by women and people of minorities. And then, the slut marches and the gay pride parades with people wearing dildos, imitating sexual actions, walking down the street. What is this? The degrading of boys and men. No wonder the men are confused in the BLM and Antifa things. They got no idea. And maybe they're right. Maybe they're right just to let loose or something. Maybe this is a coming of age or something, because my generation did nothing. It was incremental. It was incremental each day, each month, and just a little bit here, a little bit there. You didn't know when that line was crossed, but my God, that line has been crossed. The institutionalization of crony capitalism, they're against that too. They're definitely against that, giving of all that money in 2008 to the banksters, and it didn't help anything. And now we've got fake news, and who knows what truth is. So this is what I've seen, and I didn't do anything. As I say, I'm not going to blame myself. I can look myself in the mirror because it wasn't bad. Each day was okay, a little bit here, okay, and the black guys were getting it worse, and I was not aware of it because of the infotainment. I never bothered to look more into depth, but why would you? You look at the statistics, okay, you don't think they're manipulated. They were. You didn't put it together that the black American family was destructed first. So, yeah, I grew up into this, and I took it. I didn't analyze it in depth until I was older. And then I left the fucking country. Because I was talking about stuff like this, and I was getting nowhere, and I figured, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be talking about, what I see as bad things. The people who stayed and were fighting in normal for the removal of the violence against people. I never joined them, and I supported them, I suppose, in whatever way I could. I never met anyone who belonged to normal in my whole life. I was at university. Maybe I could have looked them out, but I was thinking about other things. So, I could look myself in the mirror, but what I'm going to say to you is I'm a coward. If I say that I don't support the ripping down of the police and making them absolutely and fully accountable all the way up and down whatever law they wish to enforce individually, no color of law, no immunity, nothing. You're a man, you attack another man, you better have a good fucking reason. And okay, you might have some support because you do it every day, okay, but otherwise, no. You got to agree to do it. There is no more Nuremberg defense. And, I was just aghast, really. I'm just following orders. Well, no, if you do that, that's not right. You don't follow orders. Oh, let me see. I didn't put the chat up. No, I put the chat up. Whoa, there we go. So yeah, that's it. Oops, I don't want to do that one. And oh God, where's the bicycle? There we go. There's the fake news. There's the manipulation. There's many people with an agenda right now. But, as I say, they don't care about the cowards. The BLM, the Antifa, they don't care about the cowards. They look like they have the moral right. And that's the trouble. At least on, some issues and on the basis of those issues. They're against capitalism. Well, the only thing these young people have known is crony capitalism. You can't blame them for thinking that it's wrong, because it is wrong. The capitalism of today, whatever it is in America, in Canada, in Europe, it's not capitalism. They call it capitalism, but it's not, and it's wrong. So if they're against that, well, I agree with that. Rip it down. Financialization of the economy is wrong. Odious debt is wrong. So if they're against this, well, they get the courage to do something. Maybe the tipping point has been reached. So I'm not saying that, that they're just cultural Marxists. Maybe that's the end game, but, is that just a label to malign them and to justify bringing in an Orwellian police state to make people so, polarized and then paranoid, polarization. So many of their demands are, on the face of it, reasonable. And I've seen it all. And I'm not advising any man to go out and to make a martyr of himself or to sacrifice himself for no value or to dispose of himself. But this system, what is left in this system worth fighting for? Well, MGTOW said nothing, because they dispose of men at every turn. They dispose of men in the prison industrial complex. They dispose of men in wars of foreign aggression. They dispose of men in dangerous jobs and in trying to preserve some type of family system, which is just an abattoir for the prison industrial complex and a make-work project of evil. I agree. Capitalism died with gold-backed currency. And, I'm looking at when Franklin Delano Roosevelt, stole all Americans' gold back in, 36 or 35 or something. And, yeah. But as I say, it's been incremental. There still is sort of capitalism. You can open up a business, but now there's so many regulations. And, my God, it's pointless, really. It's pointless. It's so, and now, yes, Bob the Monk, they're canceling people left and right. They're canceling people. Stefan Molyneux and a whole bunch of others, some of whom I know the name of and have watched. And yeah, I think the message is still clear, and it's still directed fully out of the life of Bob the Monk, is to prepare to have a diversified portfolio of investments, and the most diversified that you can get, and just to prepare, to be ready, because we don't know what's going to happen. It could just blow over and maybe make him big of it. Maybe we're not. I don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows. It appears as though this is part of the 2020 American election cycle, with the COVID-19 coming in to, throw tens of millions of young people out of work, and to get them on the street, and to get them wearing masks, and then to be able to lay waste to the cities and create the need for some type of overreaction, and to, cause this to be an election issue. So this is, and on top of it, there is really something going on that wasn't Trump's making. He didn't make the militarized police. He didn't go for the foreign wars. He's tried to stop it. He's trying to drain the swamp. But, of course, the people in the left have demonized anything positive Trump may do. And again, maybe they're just fed up. Maybe the time has come. I feel sometimes the time has come. I look at what those Catholic priests do, and then the bishops, and then the archbishops, and the cardinals, and the Pope, what they do to cover up the sticking of an adult male penis into the asshole of a little boy, to fuck him till he bleeds, and then to tell him to his face that if he speaks to anyone, he'll go to hell, and he believes in hell. And that this has gone on for my entire life, and it won't stop. They won't stop it. The Catholic Church won't stop it. And okay, it's not every priest, but every priest knows every other priest somehow, and they don't just, say, get the hell out, here, take him to the police. They don't do that in my entire life. I'm sick of it. So I'm not going to be a coward and say that I just think that every system is fucked. The police knew about this. They didn't act on it. And another boy gets reamed up the ass and is terrorized and terrified. And okay, I don't know what this does to a 10-year-old boy 10 years later. It didn't happen to me. I don't know. Maybe it'll carry through, and maybe fuck him up a bit throughout his whole life. I'm an existentialist. I say you can get over it, and I think you can. I think you can just wipe the slate clean, as it were, and say, I'm not responsible for that. It was something bad, and I get over it. Okay, it was traumatic, and I'm over it. And maybe you can get over it. Maybe not. I don't know, but I'm sick of it. And so, if there's any Catholic priest out there, for God's sakes, you better hope it doesn't collapse, because there's a lot of people who just think that you've outlived any possible purpose that God might have for you on this planet. You are evil. You are doing far more harm than good. Your continued presence as human beings on this planet is massively detrimental to the community of humans. And there's a lot of people who think that, and maybe some who think other. And at some point, there may be no one in between you and the people who think that you should be gone. So maybe the thing to do now is just to resign. Just resign in disgust. There was at least, I think only, one Supreme Court justice who resigned after that despicable judgment that said that black people cannot be citizens of the United States of America and thus can be enslaved, thus allowing anyone who's not a citizen, including Canadians, to become slaves in America, and thus Americans to become slaves in any other country. This is a despicable judgment, and it's never been just washed clean by completely dismantling that court and just starting again. Everyone resigning in absolute disgust that any group of human beings could come up with such a stupid decision and have that somehow carry on. Okay, there was a civil war, but the decent thing to do would have been just to start fresh. We all resign. Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe your local priest is. He thinks that men's duty, especially boys' duty, is to bend over and be fucked by him and his friends. If not him, his friends. So Andy MGTOW, yeah, he's. I don't know. I got nothing to do with those guys, really. You know, these people are part of are part of a community, and they stick together, and obviously they're sticking together for the detriment of men and boys. I got nothing positive to say about it. Anything positive they may have done in terms of metaphysics or morality or social cohesion went out long, long ago. Gangs, you think, Higgy Nuggy? Yeah, the priests are nothing but a vicious gang of ass fucking men. And the Pope is the king, you know, the king protector of the ass fucking men gang. You know, it's a sickness. And the old women, they don't know, you know, they're just hoping to die and go to heaven. And you know, you don't want to take that from them, I suppose. But at some point, Grandma, you know, that man who you're listening on every word, you know, he's doing bad stuff to your little Billy, you know, your grandson, or great grandson, or whatever. God. Yeah. That's it. It's probably worse in a lot of places, and you know, you think about it. Eggy, the corruption of the system. You know, they send out the alms dish or whatever, so that poor people all around the world can give a little bit of money for God's work all around the world. So they save up, and they take money from their kids maybe, and you know, they give $1 or something in the thing, and that money eventually makes it up. Some of it makes it up to the pontiff's inner circle in Rome, because they got to be paid, and then the inner circle go and use their allotment to buy male prostitutes and have massive sex orgies. And so the money is going from these poor, struggling people with kids and families in, I don't know, Africa, South America, and, you know, North America, wherever, and it's going to fund sexual orgies in you know, St. Peter's Square. Oh my God. You just can't make this up. This is the most despicable and disgusting degeneracy that I've witnessed my whole life, and I'm sick of it. Frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm demoralized. Can I admit that? Can I just admit that I'm demoralized? I don't give a shit anymore. I don't want to see the statues go. I agree that the destruction of one's history is the opportunity to spiral down and to repeat its errors. Yes, there's no question. But I just don't give a shit anymore. I don't want to see anyone hurt. I don't. But so many people have been hurt, and have been hurt my entire life. Men sent to jail for stupidities. And you know, Black Lives Matter, you know, I would rather they just, you know, go through with their rage and sweep everything, and not have the police come in and turn everything into a 1984 Brave New World, all those other dystopias rolled into one. You know, everyone gets the COVID-19 hoax passport, and you know, this is yeah. I know, Monk Music, but you better catch up. I'm not saying that sometimes you don't have to take a little bad with the good, and I'm sick of it my entire life. I put a list up of the bullshit, and I got to say, you know, it's just bullshit my whole life. And whoops, where is it? Yeah, this is it. I think I can, whoops. Yeah. Gotta take that psycho root off. That's part of it, you know. It's definitely part of it. You know, I'll put this up here, and this is what I've seen, and this is, you know, there's some men stuff in there, and I think some of that's going into the BLM and the Antifa. We got those single mother sons that are trying to find their way, maybe, I don't know. But, I've seen the growth of militarized police and tactics and purposes, the growth of the prison industrial complex, and, wars of pointless regime change. I just can't take it anymore. I didn't mention, other things that were, but enjoy the decline. I've watched it, but it's been incremental my whole life. When I was, upset about this, and I was upset about it in 1985 when I, finished my first university degree. I was very versed on this, including some of the wars that I thought were bad at that time. And, but then, things happened, and maybe there was some improvement, and the wall came down in '89, so you thought, okay, there's a new chance, and then, but you still had the violence and the stupidity, and you're thinking it wasn't great, so leave, and so. No, it's been incremental, and now it's come to a head, and young people are doing something. So they're doing something, and maybe that's what it's about. They're doing something. Because someone's got to do something, because I didn't do anything my whole life. I didn't do anything my whole life, and that's it. And that's what this is about. They've forgotten that cowards like me ever lived. And I don't think I'm a coward, because I didn't... there was no tipping point. There was no needle in the haystack. There was just me and maybe a few other people who I never met, talking about the bad things, and the locking up of men for victimless crimes, and you don't see it happening until it gets so bad. And that article I showed by Armstrong, he says that BLM wants to end the family. Well, sorry, Armstrong, the family's already been ended. What in the fuck are you talking about? The family's ended. End capitalism? Well, the only capitalism that young people know today is disgusting, predatory, crony capitalism, financialization capitalism. This is an abomination, really. Companies spend more on lawyers in Washington trying to become, trying to steer the course of legislation to make it better for them. So that's what they spend money in. There's no capitalism anymore. There's oligopolies and monopolies, and everyone has a license, and the American Medical Association. If you want to be the leader there, you need a lot of money just to send out stuff to people and get elected. And they get that money from probably Big Pharma. And every doctor now has to do what the head of the AMA says, and they're paid by the pharmaceutical companies, and the pharmaceutical companies are the biggest advertisers in the mass media. So yeah, this is what you see. Every system is just beyond repair, and none of it is fit for purpose. None of these systems. My God. I say that, and it was like that. It was going that way when I was there, and I got out. And now I'm broadcasting. I'm in exile, I suppose, and broadcasting in, and I'm hearing this and putting voice to it. If you disagree, please tell me how. If you think that Black Lives Matter isn't right in wanting to end crony capitalism, the capitalism that exists today, if you don't want to end that, then, you're some type of Wall Street mongrel. That's it. Yeah, the debt. I was aghast at the debt rising. And the debt when I was, just graduated university, it was small in 85 as a percentage of a yearly income. But, it's been rising and rising and rising. No. And now, debt only really started to accumulate in Canada after Trudeau changed the previous method, where if the government needed money, they would just ask the central bank, who would just print it and give it to them. And There was never hyperinflation. There was never the threat of inflation, even. And it worked very well, but Trudeau wanted to change that. And thus, now in Canada, we have debt slavery, and in America, we have debt slavery, and we have debt slavery and debt slavery, and that whole system is broken, and the banking system is broken. You know, and the fractional reserve lending is not in itself a bad thing as long as the money always goes to build productive type of assets. And, you know, it's sustainable in the long term, I think. But if it gets corrupted as it is, and as it did in my lifetime and even before, then we're looking at what we're seeing now. We're looking at cyberpunk. We're looking at ultimately just a complete breakdown in any type of decency. We're looking at law of the jungle spuriously and inconsistently applied. Applied one day to one person, another day not to that person, but to another person. Who knows? Yeah. Yes. Billions seemed insane. Now it's trillions. What was it? 3 trillion in the last few months that the accumulated debt of the states went up. It took 200 years for the first trillion. My God. And then the second trillion took, 20 years? And then it's just faster and faster. So we're spinning. We're spinning, men. We're demoralized, but not completely, because MGTOW is here. We see the decline. We're going to enjoy the decline, because this is not our fight. No one is forcing you to go out and do this fight. If you support something, take care. This whole thing is something going to happen. There's many different people. Some people want Trump not to be elected, and they're causing trouble. They're fomenting a massive destruction. They did this with President Andrew Jackson. They did it. They brought down the system with him, but he won, and America recovered. So there's no reason to go out there and do anything crazy. That's not in the cards here. That's not the point. The point is to accept that, if you stand by and don't do anything for your entire life, and this list happens, don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a coward when some people actually want to do something, even though what they want to do goes beyond what you think should be done. Had I done something about that when I should have, maybe these people wouldn't be doing what they're doing now. But again, none of this was absolutely clear. You thought that, okay, it's not too bad. I can live my life, and I can get by, and the economy was good, and you weren't aware of the changes and what they would mean and what they were doing. I just got used to certain, people talking about men in certain ways. I thought, oh, this is normal. You're a pig. You're a sexist pig. There's another term for it as well. And but now we know that none of this is good. It's incremental, and you grow up into it. The young boys today, I don't know what they're growing up into. But to talk, male chauvinist pig, that's the word I was looking for. Thanks, man. Male chauvinist pig. And yes, I am now. I definitely am. And you either stand aside or you're with me. Because I ain't stopping, and I don't think anyone is going to be able to stop me. So, but I'm not the guy for this fight, maybe. But at this point, I'm not going to say that the BLM Antifa people don't have the right to go too far, because a lot of people for a lot of years didn't go far enough. So it's all been corrupted. And you didn't think it was this bad. This system gets compromised. That system gets compromised. And Alex Jones is in the woods screaming about it. And other people are talking about it. And then, there's deeper esoteric stuff. And you think you're a tinfoil hat. And, 3 towers, collapse for the first time in history due to 2 airplane crashes. And NORAD stands down and misses, apparently 4 planes when they've never missed one before. And everything has to be believed. Every impossible thing has to be believed. And nobody does anything. And now we see the result of that. Okay? You stand down. This is what you get. You take too many opiates. You got too much money, you got too much wealth, they take it from you. Somebody's taking it. They're taking it, but that's okay. You don't need the money. The money's not the important thing. They can take the money from the men of the West. Okay, it's gone. And yeah, okay, some men are going to die. Okay then. But, this has happened before. So get ready, men. Get ready. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it'll just end next week. Yeah, people can just go home. Apparently, the Chop Chaz people in Seattle went to the house of the mayor, and she was unhappy. Oh, why are you bothering me in my mansion? You got to stay away. I don't like you. You go back to the plantation. Oh, jeez. Was that some type of racial assessment, racial illusion? Yes, it certainly was a racial illusion. And it doesn't really fit in Seattle at all, does it? But, yeah, that's right. No, they just want, they want the prison industrial complex. Portugal just got too poor to fund it. Yeah. Once in a while, you need a forest fire to keep the forest healthy. Yes, that happens. And, if it's in the wrong spot, okay, maybe you tend the forest so that it doesn't burn in the middle of the city or something. Okay, no problem. But otherwise, no. There's dark forces, though, because I think at some point there's a way to navigate a path. And to navigate a path all the way, without having, costly forest fires. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're getting horse shit right now. This is horse shit. I'm seeing horse shit. I'm seeing a lot of police resign, which is probably good. I think they should all resign. I don't know why they don't. And the laws should just be struck and start again. Just wipe the slate clean. Let's get back to common law, what we all know. So everyone knows what they can and cannot do. And this has been true in Anglo-Saxon places, that everyone knows the law. You just, it's just fourfold. You don't cause a disturbance. Right? You don't disturb the peace. So a bunch of people protesting on the street is not disturbing the peace because there is no peace. There's people protesting. See, that's where that comes from. And then you don't damage, steal people's stuff, break it, steal it, whatever. You don't do that to other people's stuff. And then you don't threaten, hurt, or kill people. You don't do that. And then, you abide by your contracts. And there. That was the law. And everyone knew what the law was. And everyone could say the law. It didn't take very long. Yeah. Done. That's it. We all know the law. And then the jury decides if you violated it. Well, first of all, you have a human being stand up and say, well, my peace was disturbed, or they damaged my stuff, or they killed my uncle, or they, they broke a contract, and here's evidence of the contract. And that was easy. There was somebody speaking. Now, you got all these victimless crimes. You got the revenue collection from the police. It's like, this is part of the problem. The police are part of the problem. They've gone well beyond what they should do to keep the community safe. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's incremental, isn't it? Bad Max, 1962. It's in a little bit here, this year, this year. Not enough. You know, it's like death from 1,000 pricks. You know, and you don't know. You just say, oh, no, I think I'm going to, my line, no, I'll move my line. And so that's the problem, and now it's blown over. And, okay, it's manufactured. I'll give you somebody manufactured this. That, you know, they came up with the COVID-19 hoax. They put these people out of work. They put them on the street. They gave them masks. And that's it. They got them, you know, they loaded the weapon. They aimed it. And that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the police are just civilians who do this every day, and they're supposed to just do it, you know, slightly better, but they don't, you know. And, you know, they lie, and you can't lie to your employers. That's called, you know, subordination, and you can't do that. You push the guy, you fucking say you pushed the guy. Yeah, I pushed him. He fell over backwards, he hit his head, and then I treated him like a piece of fucking meat and walked right past him. Yeah, I wanted to stop, but, you know, it's all for the best. He's a fucking bleeding piece of meat on the fucking road. Yeah, I know. He's trying to get somebody's phone number, right? He's trying to get the phone frequency because the police don't want to be transparent and let people know it. Should they have the secret number? Should it be secret? Do the police need secrecy in everything they do? I don't think so. And who decides what they need secret? Well, oddly enough, the police. Oh, I see. And they won't give it up. So anyway, we'll find out what happens. But you know, if we get a police state, well, we're going to get a police state in America, and then it's going to go fit. It's going to be like dominoes falling all over the Western world. There'll be police states all over the world, and who knows what countries will try to resist, because some will, some always do, and they don't go for the police state, even though, you know, there's no one to stop them now. You can trade with America because it's a police state, you know, blah, blah, blah. You could trade with them before, but you had to at least, you know, make some effort to not be horrible. Now it's just going to be fucking horrible. So if you support the police against Black Lives Matter, I don't know, you got a problem. Because the police are no friend to men. And if anyone wants to think that, you can disabuse yourself of that thought right now. If you think the police are friends of men, please say so in the chat. I think some of the men here would be most impressed to hear your argument. Yeah. So, you know, the good police, well, I don't believe you're good unless you speak up about the bad police. That's what makes a good police officer, is a good police officer, you know, stops a bad police officer. I think that's what it's all about. That's the first fucking thing to be a good police officer. You know, isn't it? I might be wrong on that, but it sort of makes sense to me. The first job of a good police officer is to stop the bad police officer. Because, you know, they're carrying guns, and we agreed not to carry guns just to make things easier. But, well, it has to, Stone Reaper. If they don't cost you money, and thus eat up some of your time, then they're not doing your job. And they had somebody release this, you know, the head of the police union in America or something said there was 365 interactions between the public and the police. And each of those, it costs people money. So you know the size of this business. The prison industrial complex. Just the police end of it. It's massive. 365 interactions. 365 million interactions for 330 million men, women, and children. You know you're living in the police state. Yeah. You know you're living in a police state. So anyway, you know, it's not what people think of BLM. That's really, I think, interesting. It's what BLM think about other people, and they just don't give a shit. Now, maybe they're radicalized, maybe they're extreme on the end of Marxism, and maybe they're just extreme because for my whole lifetime, not enough people were extreme. And it was just incremental, and then we had 846, and we're saying, no. And then all the other ones, and And that's not to say that 4% of men aren't psychopaths, and they're dangerous, sure. And a couple of other percent are pretty nutso, and maybe dangerous, and I don't know. But certainly, the police can do better by being more transparent, but they don't. And, they shouldn't do that to people. You say the statistics are this way and the statistics are that way. Yeah, well, how many Australian women were out protesting with sandwich boards this year? 1. And how many more are going to happen? 0. I can always put money on that, They saw the video. All it takes is 1. It's like you make an example of someone. Yeah, you go out, you protest with a sandwich board. The police are going to come. They're going to rip you from your kid. And they don't care if it's videotaped. They're going to manhandle you. They're going to be evil. They're going to be fucked up beyond all imagination. Foobar. Fucked up beyond all recognition. And then, how many other, women are going to do that with their kids? 0. All it takes is 1. Yes, that's the police, isn't it? Powerful. They are Orwellian. They are locally integrated. It's a system, locally integrated system. And they're attempting to control everyone, not serve. This is controlling. This is not serving. And, the helmet law. I don't wear a helmet when I drive a motorcycle here. There is a helmet law. And, maybe they're trying to get people to do it. There's lots of bikes, but... not where I live necessarily, so, yeah. I know, Mad Max, 1962. It's. I think stuff like this is just how to make enemies of the people. This is beyond all imagination. Nobody wants this. If this is a system, I don't want that system. And if you want that system, well, I don't want you. Right? We're in a community. I don't want that system at all. And if you won't get rid of it, then... well, I don't care. At some point, you don't care anymore. You're demoralized. And what we see, I think, we're still getting the protests. And, maybe they won't give up. Maybe they will. I don't know. They're not getting work. So I think it's going to go on until somebody puts them back to work. Every time the COVID-19 seems to die down, somebody wants to whip it up again. Oh my God! Look, there's more cases. There's more cases. There's some in Texas or some in Arizona. Look, it's the highest ever. All these confirmed cases, which means, we don't know what it means. I looked at the sensitivity of some of these tests, and they're quite low. Unless you're predicting about 70% of people in the test. Sample to have it, then you don't know what it is. Basically flipping a coin. So we don't know what's going on with the tests. Thus, any confirmed case is, who knows what it is. Really, who knows? So, but every time, people want to open up the economy, they want to stop it. So somebody's managing this. They're managing the destabilization. At the beginning I said it looked like they were going to manage the pandemic, but now There is no pandemic. What there is a pandemic of fear, if there's any pandemic. But they're managing this event. They're managing it for full effect. It is a weapon. It is being aimed at America as part of a destabilization campaign, and it's working. So it's destabilized, and various systems which were malfunctioning beforehand are involved in it because they want to have their place guaranteed and continued. I see cyberpunk, or worse. I think cyberpunk is probably the best we can get out of this, meaning that, you're going to need internal passports, and you're going to have hell on earth. Really, it's going to be nothing that anyone wants to live, and it'll take a long time before it fixes itself. Yeah. Of course, pneumonia, COVID, isn't that synonymous now? Previously they always had untreatable viral pneumonia. I don't think there was a time when they didn't have cases of viral pneumonia that they couldn't treat, and the person died. Suddenly, someone has viral pneumonia, they can't treat it, then they find this new virus, which may or may not actually cause harm, because we haven't done the test yet. Then they say, it's caused by this, and now we have to be afraid. Yeah. So, we're into a managed mess, a managed destabilization. It looks to be part of the American election cycle. And this is the strangest election I've ever seen. It's destroying the economy. It's destroying the social fabric. And, I think a lot of people my age are looking at these young kids. I think the snowflakes, the parents of the snowflakes, or the baby boomers, they maybe support some of it because they, like me, they've seen this their whole lives. So maybe they're demoralized and don't care. Yeah, things got to be fixed. Let the kids go out and riot or whatever it is. And okay, they riot, they demo, they protest. I went over the Texas statute. I brought it up on screen. 7 people make a riot. This is part of the stupidity of the problem. This is part of why the system is absolutely broken. This is stupidity. How can adults, how can grown men look me in the face and say, yeah, you can have a riot with 7 people? How can I stop myself from laughing in his face and saying, you are perhaps the stupidest man I have met in months. Get out of my face, you absolute, irredeemable moron. How can I stop myself from saying that? He tells me 7 people can be a riot, and I say, I'm speechless. Well, I said what I would say in a good mood, but in a bad mood, it's like, please, just drink the Kool-Aid. Go down to Jamestown and drink the Kool-Aid. Go down to Jamestown and drink the Kool-Aid. It'll be better, and you know it now. Go down and drink the Kool-Aid. Drink it now. Yeah. It wasn't Jamestown. It was James Jones. What the hell was the name of that place where they drank the Kool-Aid? I remember that. It was a weird thing. There was like 900 people in that cult. And how many people are in the BLM cult? I don't know. But my thinking now is that there's millions. I think the young people are involved in that. They're not involved in MGTOW in great numbers, but sufficient numbers. But they're involved in this. They like this. Yeah. This is something. This is action. They can do it on their phone. They can do it in real life. Yeah, Jonestown. That was it. Yeah. Jonestown. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid down in Jonestown. Some guy with a straight face says, yeah, 7 people can be a riot. Yeah. I say, did you escape Jonestown? Sorry. Actually, if he escaped Jonestown, he might have been one of those smart 4 or 5 guys who got out. But I'd probably say you probably died in Jonestown, and this is the I don't know, the reincarnation of the stupidest one. Yeah. Yeah. No, they do. I don't know. Maybe, they get the full force of the prison industrial complex. See, this is the cyberpunk. The people in the cities, they're pressed down and pressed upon by the controllers, and they react, and they don't like it. They don't like it in the cities, and they can't leave, and they like the bells and whistles. So urbanization is a major contributing factor to a lot of things, and now it's a contributing factor to people on welfare. They mostly live in the cities. All the entitled women, well, they're in the cities. Not all, but they get worse there. Hey, they named the Jim Jones Review Band. Yeah, their biggest hit was the 1983 Killing Spree. Let's listen to that now, after a message from our sponsor, Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid for the kids. It comes in multiple flavors. You just want to suck it up. Drink Kool-Aid today. And now we return to the regular scheduled program with the Jim Jones Review Band singing their big hit, Killing Spree. Drink the Kool-Aid today. Drink the Kool-Aid today. Are you fucking serious? It's a real one? Oh my God, I thought you were joking. Okay, I'm sorry about that. There is a real band apparently called the Jim Jones Review. Yeah. It's early in the morning, MM. We'll forgive that. Whatever it is. It's getting late here for me. It's getting late. Yeah, my God. This is, I don't know. You have to laugh about it because, well, maybe you don't have to laugh. It's a serious thing. But they drank the Kool-Aid. And, it's a great song, is it? You're not just pulling our legs. We have to actually go listen to it. It's memorable. It's got a meme. It's got a hook. A great song has to have a hook. Like, dun, 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 dun. See, that's a great song. There's a hook. Dun, 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 dun. It's got to have a hook. Yeah. I don't know, Stone Reaper. Those Heaven's Gate people, I'm not sure about them. Yeah. It was, Montreal and Switzerland, and there was 2 times. No, there's something funny about them. I don't want to go too far into it, but I think they had a whole different way of looking at reality. And, but, I might be wrong. But, I'm not about to go join them, if that's what anyone's thinking. No, I'm not going to be joining those people, the Heaven's Gates people. But, no, it's nuts. What they did was nuts. And, you don't want to do that. What BLM is doing is nuts on the extreme end. But maybe you have to be extreme out there to even, get off the sofa and do something. So, red pill is a big thing, but MGTOW is fairly extreme. It's extreme in the focus on men. It's extreme in demanding that men look out for other men's interests if they're talking to them and shit, right? And so, this is extreme decency, I think. And there's no way to be decent to a woman because she's got too much power, right? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So there's no way to be decent with her or have her decent with you. There's just no way you can have a decent relationship. The government is always there. and enticing the woman to do the worst possible things. So that's it. So you need the extreme to make the middle palatable. And at some point, the extreme no longer becomes extreme, and a new extreme grows. And maybe that's incel. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so it's awesome. Well, so it's gone from a great song to awesome. I think an awesome song has to have both a hook and something extra. And something extra. I'm raising the bar on this one. If I got to click on that, I'm going to. Yeah, sorry, I'm doing a linguistic task here. Oh, okay. Oh, I see what I gotta do. Well, I don't know. I'll have to look at this space video later. Space weather video. I just clicked on the first thing to get this thing. Oh my. Okay, we'll try it now. There we go. Hey, yeah, look, the Jim Jones review. Burning your house down. Yeah, we got 2 comments on this. I love this song, and big smiley face, and then excellent spelled with 1 L and no C. So that was 2 comments. That's great. Yeah. 31 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. Yeah. Jim Jones review. Yeah. Yeah. Holiday in Cambodia. There was that movie, Swimming to Cambodia. I think that was disturbing. Yeah, Swimming to Cambodia. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You see, you've got Rotten Tomatoes. They were sold recently, and you know what that means. It means quality is going to go to shit. But now when you do a search and you get like a tomato score, it gives you the critic score and not the audience score. And you know that the audience score is going to be better. You know, sometimes you got to look at the critic score to be able to interpret it, but you know, the critics are, you know, bought and paid for. So, but in Swimming to Cambodia, it gets a 91% audience score. That's what I would give it. Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I'm thinking of the Killing Fields. Swimming to Cambodia was sort of a movie about something to do with the making of the Killing Fields, which was the disturbing movie. Yeah. It was that was a disturbing movie. So you watch that movie, you read Chomsky's Manufacturing Consent, and you got a good idea how evil these fucking people are. You know, that's it. That's a double header of demoralization. And you know, some of it's happening today. Uh, so this is this is a double header. Yeah, this is a double header. So this is I knew this. I grew up with this. And, no, he didn't. He got killed, didn't he? Paul Pot? Did he escape? What? Did he make it to France? No, China or something, or maybe it's Uganda. Oh God. Early life. Who in the fuck cares? Democratic Kampuchea, 1976 to 1979. Killing fields. Oh, for God's sakes. Imprisonment and death. Yeah, I don't know. He seemed to be placed under house arrest. I don't know what year it was, though. They fled on foot in 1997. So I don't know. I think they hid up in the jungles up north. It's not a big place, but yeah. So yeah, he hid out in what a mess. What a fucking mess. Pol Pot, that whole fucking thing's a mess. My God, it's a mess. Yeah. He didn't escape, but he didn't have to face his crimes, and I think the crimes that have been committed by the West in my lifetime, some of them are bad, and nobody's facing anything. So there's rioting in the streets, people don't care, and that's it. And they're getting support from the media, and they're getting support from certain companies, and at the same time you're saying, well, I support half of what they want, the other half, well, I don't. But then again, the stuff I supported them doing is hideous and horrible. The stuff that they're fighting against, half of it that I agree with, is absolutely hideous and horrible. And maybe maybe the whole purpose is just to go too far, to get someone extreme, so that the pendulum swings too far in the other direction. But I don't think anyone likes what's going on. Anyway, there's this new video game coming out, like a horror video game, and they're going to put a trigger warning on it. Oh my God. It's like stupid. It's like we're in Stupidville. So you blow the heads off of these zombies and they give you a trigger warning. What? What? Oh, this is cyberpunk. Where at the same time you're doing horrible and evil things, you give people trigger warnings. I don't know what's going on, to tell you the truth. I think it's multiple personality at times. Yeah. Yeah, well, someone was responsible because it got approved. But again, no one's held responsible. No one takes accountability. That's why, who was it? Some chief of police just resigned. Good. They all resigned. When a bad thing happens that's completely out, just resign. Just resign. Just resign. Right? Every time a fucking priest, and I use that term, I suppose, correctly, buggers a little boy, the Pope should resign. Obviously, that priest doesn't respect you, the Pope, or God, or anything. Doesn't respect the community, doesn't respect the boy, doesn't respect himself. You should resign. How can you let someone like that be a priest? Why don't you ask them a question? Like, do you like to bugger boys and see what they say? They'll probably say yes. Well, then you can't be a priest. Go be a fucking pedophile and go to jail. Or go seek help or something, you know. But no, they don't say that. They say, yeah. In order to be a priest, you have to be a pedophile. Or at least a homosexual in the minimum. So, but, you know, had I known then what I know now, my God, I'm sick of it. My whole life, I'm sick of it. So, I don't want to be a coward. I don't want to say that people marching on the street and marching for things that, okay, maybe I wouldn't march for, but marching for things that I should have marched for. I should have marched, you know, while it was still safe to do so. And, but, you know, for the MGTOW issue, what's the point in doing it, right? None of it was, you know, men would march and for men's issues, and, you know, it wouldn't work, and men wouldn't come together, and that was it. But men are coming together. You see it in the statistics. It don't matter. The protests on the street are for other people. Men don't do that for men's issues, at least. But somebody's doing it for George Floyd. He was a modern-day slave of the prison industrial complex. Maybe somebody should put a statue up for George Floyd, slave of the prison industrial complex, and have the police departments pay for it, and have the police departments hold a day of memorial for the day that they arrested George Floyd and sent him to jail for 6 months for holding and passing less than a gram of coke to somebody. Destroyed his life. Good going, police. And then, you know, after he outlived his usefulness for the prison industrial complex, he just, you know, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. What even an idiot wouldn't do. You know. So, yeah. Maybe people are upset for good reason. And they don't care what cowards who disagree with them say, because they weren't out protesting, you know. Where was I when Miles Davis was being pulled over on a weekly basis driving his yellow Ferrari in St. Louis? Where was I? Well, I didn't know about it, to tell you the truth. I didn't know about that, or maybe I knew about it and didn't care. And maybe if I cared, I wouldn't have done anything. Or, you know, I don't know. Maybe there was nothing to do. Ultimately, you know, it was incremental, and we've reached the tipping point. So the article that I reviewed by one is an M.A. Armstrong. No, it's not enough to call them cultural Marxists. Some of them are probably Marxists, and some of them are just fed up, and they don't give a shit about all those people who allowed this thing, all this thing that has gone on for too long. My lifetime is long enough to see this, and nobody's doing anything about it. And they weren't until, you know, they weren't, because MGTOW is here, because they weren't doing shit. So they weren't up until, and now they're still not doing anything. We reviewed that letter from the Texas Fort Worth chief of police, and it's one of the stupidest documents I can imagine coming out of what should be an institution large enough to write a document that makes sense. Oh, for God's sakes! Yeah, I don't know. This is horrible. You know, I don't know when I saw him in an interview with Dick Cavett. No, we've got a problem, and every system is broken. Nobody gives a shit. You know, I don't like to see the statues come down, and I don't mind the guys, local guys with guns saying, "You're not ripping the statue down. Go somewhere else." Okay, that's fine. That's good. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. But I just want to see some accountability, some responsibility. You know, America's in legal chaos where one state you smoke a joint, it's fine. The next day you go to jail. Like, what? Like, what? This is, don't you see? Don't you see? This is like an admission that you're evil. An admission that you are evil. Step down. You're evil. Yeah. Anyway. So, BLM have forgotten that these cowards even live. They don't give a shit if you disagree with them. And maybe that's a good thing. So that's why people are agreeing with them. Because half of what they say is absolutely right. And the other half is just going too far. Maybe it's just a negotiating position. You know, that's what I was sort of thinking. That a lot of people saying, oh, well, we're not going to completely get rid of police. We're just going to disband them and then restart something new. Maybe what they restart will go back to Sir Robert Peel's principles. You know, I think everyone would agree with that. And basically, you know, and then, you know, we'll go through the cycle again. And you get the psychopaths in there wanting control and blah, blah, blah. And it's incremental and nobody's willing to stand up and say, no, there's no incremental at all because it won't stop. It never stops. Once they start, you know, shuffling these people off of YouTube, they'll shuffle other people off. So it was nice being with you men, but they're going to shuffle me off one day, but we're going to come back. Maybe on that new channel, Parlay. But I got to figure out how to do live streams somewhere else and get it done. But my brain is obviously in other places. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I know that, you know, it's not my responsibility to change the world from my little backwater in Canada growing up. And a young man, you know, with different interests, you know, aware of the bad problems, is not the guy to do it. When nobody else is really up in arms about it. And, you know, no one I knew, really almost no one I knew. And anyway, life was good back then in the 80s for the most part. But then suddenly it was not good for a lot of men, and then a lot more men, and now it's basically every man. It's not good for anyone. Jesus, is it, Eggy? Oh, God. You know, what are they doing? You know, you take a guy who's gifted and you beat the shit out of him. Well, I don't know. This is pointless and stupid. You know, you shouldn't do it to anyone. But, you know, a guy who works hard, because, you know, a gift of talent can only take you so far. You got to go further on your own. But yeah, no, we'll get to some other channel if they're gonna dork around like this. Maybe they want us gone now. We'll see about the other ones. I've been going to BitChute more often. Maybe I'll just put it up on my bookmarks, and we'll have to see. I was gonna do a video. Maybe I'll do a video for the young men, and the young men trying to get through a harder situation than I had to get through, and you know, there may be nowhere to run. In fact, there isn't many places for people to run. So you ain't running. I ran. You ain't running. So sorry about that, young men. But there's other things to do, and you can get what you want. You can have all the success in the world, and we'll try to talk about that and help you and think about that. And if you need to, you can seek help from MM. Thanks, MM, for coming in. Thanks everyone. MGTOW Smurf and Stone Reaper and Mad Max, and all the lurkers. Hope you enjoyed something. Hope you got something from this stream, and look at it. Don't fall in one camp or the other camp. That's what they want. Remember, men are first. Men are what's important. Men are the prize. And the answer for the disposability of men is never more disposability of men.